To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Glad you're with us. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo here. It's getting good. Getting out of the good stuff. Out of the good stuff.
I think my reverse psychology has worked.
Your mental ninja?
Yeah. When the Cavs were down, 0-2, and I said, well, it's over. I did that on purpose because I really knew they were going to come back to tie it up 2-2, and I think it's going to go 7 games. So that was just the reverse psychology of what I was doing.
You Miyagi'd him. You wax on.
That's what I did.
Unagi.
I knew this all along that it was going to happen this way.
You did.
Yeah, I never gave up on Cleveland.
Show me the betting receipts
at
to
all.
prove it.
Not one time.
Yeah.
Wow, what a game.
Yeah, it was good.
Good for was it? I mean,
no.
It was a game. It existed, but with the amount of fouls and turnovers, it was ugly, man.
Look, let's be clear.
Yeah.
The final score was less than 10 points, and these finals will take it.
Yeah, we will take it. But
okay?
It wasn't. And then, so, I'm switching over to the hockey game, watching that one, and that turns out to be, a 3-zip game as
Big
well.
Hits. Big hits in that game.
Big hits in that one. We'll
the Caps out hit them.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Need that.
And then they outscored them, which was even more important.
Speaking of hitting, the Yankees continue to clobber home runs.
Yep.
5 more yesterday. We'll get into all that. We got a lot to get to. We're
do.
Glad you're with us. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. But we're going to start today with the reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that you are running out of time to sign up for Golic and Wingo Leadership Retreat. Again, don't blow it, kids, because Friday is the last day to enter for the Golic and Wingo Offsite, All Hands, Town Hall, Leadership Retreat, Strategy Session, Golf Tournament, and the only 2 words that matter are Golf Tournament.
Man, you're going to have fun. June 21st, 22nd, 23rd. I can't tell you how much fun you're going to have because you're going to be at Pinehurst.
Woo-hoo!
You're going to stay at the Pinehurst Resort.
Woo-hoo!
You're going to be there for 3 days and 2 nights.
Woo-hoo!
We're going to fly in. We're going to put you up there. You and 2 guests, which I'll get to. You're going to get treated like kings and queens.
Yes,
you're going
you
to
will.
get all kind of golf swag and ESPN swag.
Yes, you will.
And all you have to do is tweet. All right?
Which, by the way, we've proven literally anyone can do.
Anyone can do. You got to follow us at Golic and Wingo, then tweet to us, hashtag it golf with GW contest. You get 1 tweet. You get one entry. I don't care whether you just want to write something, you want to send a picture, a video, do whatever you feel you need to do to stand out amongst the rest because there will be 4. Count them 4 winners for this one.
And let's be clear, you need to bring it because
I want winners.
Yeah.
I want people that want to win.
So you need to want to win.
4 winners, and each winner brings 2 people. You get to decide what 2 friends. If you have more than 2 friends, that's up to you. Most of you, hopefully will have at least 2 friends.
Probably
to
not.
bring. And then so that will be 4 people will each have 3 part of their group. Then Trey will golf with one of them. I will. Mike will and Stu Gotts will.
Maybe.
Jason Fitz is really trying to work his way in
He
here.
might make his way into it.
I tell you what, though, he's not following the construct of the competition. You get 1 tweet.
Yeah.
He has been milking this.
Throwing out video like crazy.
Yeah, but technically he can't win. He's just trying to glom on.
Yeah, he's just trying to
glom on.
He is. Yeah.
I would play by the rules if you were trying to get in here and actually put forth some creative effort in this instead of just walking around the place you work. But what do I know?
Trying to dirty up all our stations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, though, all of you, 4 of you, get a chance to win just by tweeting at Golic and Wingo. You get 1 chance, and Friday's the last day to do it. Then we'll pick 4 winners. You bring 2 friends each. Again, it's June 21st, 22nd, 23rd. You're going to golf at Pinehurst number 2, which is one of the most prolific golf courses in America.
It gets the NFL chimes. It's that good. Pinehurst number 2 has had more championship events played at it than any other course in America, whether it's amateurs, U.S. Opens. There have been Ryder Cups there, North and South. It's unbelievable. The greens are unbelievably difficult. They're like turned over saucer cups or bowls. You have to hit it in just the right spot.
We don't want to
of the
hear
ball.
that. That makes it sound too hard.
It's hard.
Okay. So
it's hard.
That may be frustrating, fun and frustrating. Then we also get to play the Cradle,
Yeah.
which is a 9-hole short course,
Cradle.
which will be a ball.
9
You
holes,
basically
all
throw
par
the ball.
3.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Some of you will probably need your hand or foot wedge.
The holes range in length from 56 yards to 127 yards. I will be throwing the ball in the 56-yard hole.
56-yard hole.
Yeah, 56-yard hole.
Oh, that's just when you walk and drink then. Why even hit 56? That's a waste of your time.
All right. We know you guys are going to have fun, but you got to put the leader in leadership here. Talk about the personal space respect seminar. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't get near my backswing.
Yes.
Stay out of my personal space and my
Also,
backswing.
Don't touch my beer.
That's exactly right.
Don't touch my beer.
There'll be a lot of personal space involved here.
Hopefully a lot of just persons in the space. Like, I want to make this a party. We want to make this fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. How can playing Pinehurst number 2 in the Cradle not be fun?
Yeah,
Come on,
and we got to think again. Keep thinking Pinehurst because
done a great job.
I don't think they really know what they got themselves into.
No, I think
You're so screwed.
Yeah, you really are.
I'm going to tear up your nice
They
golf course.
really are.
it is completely out of the realm of what they were thinking. There's no question about that.
Kind offer, though.
Yeah,
Really
they
kind
stepped
offer.
up.
The people that win this contest are going to reap all the benefits, and I am going to make them make sure that they never let us back there again.
Yeah, they'll not think long and hard about doing this for anybody else.
Yeah, there's no question about that. In fact, I think Pinehurst at this point is thinking to themselves,
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
But they're in now. They've committed, so it doesn't matter. So anyway, again, keep going because this is your last week. You have Tuesday, Wednesday. 4 more days.
There you go. Good
4
job
more
out
days.
of you.
Thank you. Well, listen, if I'm being honest.
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
Well, you love that board, don't you?
I do. I'm getting used to it now that it's on my right
sure
hand.
Radio
seems you
Tray.
are. Yeah.
Radio
Come
Tray
on.
is out here.
When we first started the Mike Golic, we're going to make it about a radio show. We want drops.
Yeah.
I'm giving you what you want.
You are.
I'm
You're
giving
doing
you
very
drops.
well.
How about a reset, Radio Tray?
You got it. Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Commercial insurance through Progressive protects your business and your dream. Choose from over 30 coverage options at progressivecommercial.com. Speaking of Progressive, let's get to what's trending. And we start with this series still has not begun. Their series, the Eastern Conference Final Series, has not begun. You know why?
Why?
Because no team has lost on their home court. Well, the Cavaliers beat the Celtics 111-102. Hashtag trite sports sayings to even the series at 2 games apiece. LeBron James did LeBron James things. 44 points. His 6th 40-point game this season. Come on.
Yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous. And he passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for most made field goals in NBA postseason history. He's also the top scorer past Jordan for that one. So he's basically doing everything. Teammates did come along to help Tristan Thompson, Kyle Korver as well. But, man, on the Boston side of it, 15 misses between dunks and layups?
Yep.
I mean, they just could not. 3 missed dunks in the first quarter. You just look at a few of those, it could have been a lot closer. This was actually our first game in both conference finals that was under 10 points. But that didn't happen until later on. It was, a 15-point lead at halftime, a 13-point lead going into the fourth quarter. They did get it down to 7 a couple of times with about 6 minutes to go, so they tried to make it interesting there, or were making it somewhat interesting, but then Cleveland would back up that lead again and hold them off. So, I think this – One of the things that people are going to have to talk about, because Brad Stevens is getting so much love for what he's doing as a coach, but you're going to have to work on what you're doing on the court on defense that is leaving Terry Rozier guarding LeBron James with no help. I mean, I'm watching that saying, where's the help? What are they doing? Dribble, layup. I mean, it was ridiculous what was going on.
Most people, I think the criticism is becoming that length and athleticism have been the strength of the Celtics team. This idea that you can switch everything doesn't mean that you should switch everything. And the Cavaliers and LeBron James, as Brad Stevens pointed out, he's going to identify whatever matchup he always sees as most fit, and that was the one they targeted, and you didn't shut it down. And I mentioned this morning, that you know how this is. Defensively, when you come into a football game, you've got blitzes, you've got stunts you're going to try, and if you don't shut it down early, you get more of it. On the other side, the Cavaliers, Kyle Korver and Kevin Love, who got targeted early, shut it down and played really compelling individual defense and turned the tide. So that seemed to be the difference. Now can the Cavs take that defensive effort? Because that's all it was, effort. Can they take that on the road?
Well, it is amazing how much the whole feel in both of these series, well, especially for Golden State and also for Cleveland, changes when they're home in terms of the grit plays, the glue plays, Kyle Korver was all over the court last night, diving for he had three blocks?
Yeah.
3 blocks. Tristan Thompson had a couple. They had 8 blocks. That stuff it seems like when they go on the road, all those little things that come so naturally to them when they're at home just dissipate when they go on the road at times.
It's amazing, and they're going to have
unless they're playing Toronto.
Of course, that's
right. Yeah.
that's the outlier.
Separate issue entirely.
Point. But they're going to have to take that on the road because this is still a team that had 19 or was it 19 turnovers last night? The Cavaliers, 19 turnovers. So you can't keep that effort up. The missed layups are one thing, but that is truly damning.
We'll get into a little bit of the Cavs-Celtics game in just a little bit, but as we continue, the NHL's Eastern Conference Finals continues, and we will have a Game 7 because the Caps beat the Lightning 3-0 to force that Game 7. And by the way, that's the first ever loss by Tampa in playoff history in Washington. And it was the rare home ice win in this series.
And it was a lot of hitting by Washington in this one. I believe it was 39 hits, registered hits in this one. I mean, they flat out wore them down in this game. TJ Oshie gets a couple of goals, which means we're going to certainly see how your mother and your sister,
baby.
the Oshie babies, and their kids.
If any of you aren't aware of the social media phenomenon, TJ Oshie has a beautiful family. TJ Oshie, who became America's hero many moons ago, as a loving, wonderful family who are on display on social media. And my mom is obsessed with this baby. If they're not careful, my mom's going to abduct this child.
It's absolutely amazing. But Oshie does get a couple of goals. One
that is in no way frightening.
I know.
I'm warning the Oshie family. This is a public service announcement.
Very cute kids, without a doubt. The Lightning, by the way, are 5-2 in Game 7s, the best record in NHL history with a minimum of 5 games. Capitals are 4-11, the worst record in NHL history with a minimum of 10 games. So we may see where this one is going. But they got there. They got over the hump of Pittsburgh. Now they're at a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. It'll be down in Tampa Bay. And basically, even Tampa Bay players admitted Washington played like their lives depended on it. It did.
Yeah,
it was going to be over if they lost it, and they said, we did not, so we have to bring that intensity for Game 7.
Well, what's interesting, during Ovechkin's career, the Caps are 10-2 when facing elimination in Games 4 through 6, but 3-7 in Game 7. So we always like to say it's the greatest thing in sports. We'll see what happens in Game 7 between these two. Baseball, the Nats beat the Padres 10-2 behind Juan Soto's 3-run home run in the first plate appearance of his first career start.
How about that? This guy, 19 years old, so he gets his first start. He pinch hit on Sunday, got his first start yesterday, and it's a home run. So it was his 15th professional home run this year. And basically what he's done, he's homered at 4 levels this season. 5 home runs in single A, 7 home runs in high A, 2 home runs in double A, and now a home run at the major league level. So youngest with a player with a home run in his first career start. You go back to 1934 at 18, just over 18 years old. It was Phil Cavaretta.
Sure.
Yeah. In 1943, Whitey Lockman.
Whitey.
1962, Denny McClain.
Now, when you said the name Denny McClain earlier, I'm like, wait a minute, Denny McClain from 1962, that can't be the pitcher for the Tigers, the last guy to win 30 games when he won 31, went 31-6.
Oh, yeah.
For the Tigers in 1968. And it turns out, researcher Brett, it was Denny McClain, but you have more information about why it's so bizarre that Denny McClain would be on this list.
So it was Denny McClain. First career start. He had a complete game, obviously, because that's what he did.
That's what he does, yeah.
And he never hit another home run in his entire career.
That's ridiculous.
700 plate appearances.
That really is amazing.
It's crazy.
And I was wrong on the day. It was 1963. I was off by a year.
That's right.
2012, Jurickson Profar, and then Jurickson Profar.
Sure.
Yeah, in 2012, and then Juan Soto. So pretty big night for him. But as I mentioned, 15 home runs already this year at the different levels in Major League Baseball. But what a big one there. Yeah.
Cliff, can you go ahead and help me out?
You know, at my age, the mind starts playing tricks.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some names you'll actually know. 19-year-old outfielders to homer in the last 40 seasons, and they're in any setting. Juan Soto, Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, Justin Upton, Andrew Jones, Ken Griffey Jr., and Juan Gonzalez. There's an elite company with names you'll actually recognize.
Hiya, Junior.
So does that mean we should not talk about any sports before that time, like it didn't exist? You're just wiping
fine.
these people off the face of the earth?
I'm trying to just make it relevant for people that may have just fallen asleep.
You know what we do? We give people a little bit of history.
Yeah. No, it's nice. It's very worthwhile.
Yeah.
You know what else you do in history museums? You fall asleep sometimes. So I'm just trying to wake the crowd back up.
Millennials.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Don't run off the side of the road.
If you don't know anything about Denny McClain, you don't know anything about the history of baseball. Just so you know.
That's fine. Me and I'm sure most of the listening audience under the age of 30. So I'm here for them. I have to help my side of the fence on this, and you guys take care of the side of the fence that's wearing bifocals and
see. You know what we're trying to do?
The size and the
we're
cell
trying to bring
text.
everybody together. You're trying to keep everybody separated.
No, see,
you're trying to separate the young and the old.
I'm trying to bring them into our loving family here. You guys have the old crowd covered.
No, we've got actually history and knowledge covered. You have 3 years of wow. If it didn't happen when I was 21, it didn't exist. And as we continue, protecting the lead is brought to you by ADT. Considering home security, consider this: for 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. Visit ADT.com to learn more. And protecting the lead in this Eastern Conference Finals was something, obviously, that the Celtics couldn't do. Up 2-0. Now it's tied at 2. So here's the question. Right now, who do you believe in more going back in this series? It's 2 out of 3. 2 of those 3 games are going to be in Boston. Do you believe in the young Cavs and, the young Celtics who have not lost a home game yet this postseason and have never blown a 2-0 lead in team history, 37-0? Or do you believe that LeBron James is going to get back to an 8th straight final?
The thing that makes me lean to Cleveland is number 1, LeBron.
Yes.
He's actually number 1 through 5. And then you start after that.
He might be 1 through 6.
What they did last night,
off the bench.
They did really without Kevin Love. He had been the other consistent one in when things have gone well. And last night he was 3 of 12, just 9 points. He did have 11 rebounds, but 5. He got in foul trouble, had 5 fouls. He didn't have a great game by any stretch of the imagination. But other guys did pick it up. You know, George Hill again with 13, Kyle Korver with 14. J.R. Smith didn't get to double digits, but he was 3 of 6 from three-point land, and that's what he's there for. He's there for when he's open, kick it out to him and knock down a 3. He's hitting 50% of his threes. You'll take that. So I believe I'm starting to lean that way. I know they have to win in Boston, obviously. I do think it's going to go 7. I know a lot of it is, do you believe in momentum? Do you believe Cleveland's going to keep the momentum going to Boston in this situation?
You know who doesn't believe in momentum?
I would imagine someone from Boston.
That would be Al Horford.
Yeah. I don't think there's, people talk about, who has the momentum and this team won, so they have the, I think each game, it's its own. I do think that we played much better than we did on Saturday. And, we're going to learn from this game, go back home, and protect our home court.
Well, that's the question, right? This was the first. I get it really wasn't a single-digit game, but technically it was.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So, they lost by, 30-something Saturday night, right? If you're the Celtics, even though you lost, and as Terry Rozier said, hey, we're glad we got our butts kicked Saturday night.
Yeah.
Separate issue. We can have that discussion again. Do you think they're like, hey, okay, we played better. We feel better about ourselves.
No, not really, because
forward.
we've seen Cleveland have a lead before and blow the lead. They had the lead here, and they hung on to the lead. Whether it was 15, 13, it was in the teens. I know it did drop to 7, but they held on to the lead. So it's all about how you want to look at it, right? There is no momentum. Oh, there is momentum. Well, we didn't get blown out this time. Well, we held them off even when we had a lead and we've lost the lead before. It's all how you want to come at it. It's all a positive spin zone right now.
Turn your mic on. You are a professional.
You know what? This is BS because Trey did that to start the show the other day, and you guys didn't hammer him. So you should lose control of your little button over there.
Hold on, Mike.
Cliff.
Did you play offensive line?
Yes.
Did you hold on plays where it wasn't called?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, there you go.
Right,
that wasn't holding. Yeah, so there you go.
That's fine.
Hashtag
but
your own
everyone
argument.
saw it. Cliff made eye contact with me. He saw it happen. He did not see the holding. He just saw it and didn't call it.
Junior,
so that's a wanton disregard for the rules.
Junior,
Anyway,
Junior. Take the L.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take the L. I don't have to take anything.
Crying out loud.
Take the L.
Just because you've got all your little buttons over there to help you out.
Take the L.
Were you going to make a point?
I was going to make a point.
Well,
now I don't want to make it anymore.
What the hell was it?
I don't want to help you guys out anymore. Sit over there with your lukewarm takes. I'll be over here with the heat.
Okay. You mean like?
But it's not the heat if you keep it to yourself.
No, it is the heat. It's just heat in my pocket. It's Schrodinger's heat.
It's heat like some of the other ones that you've had that have been massive crash and burns. Yes, I agree. The best thing about this is, as Brad Stevens pointed out, this is what you play for. As Bill Parcells used to say, this is why you lift all them weights.
It's the best 2 out of 3 to go to the NBA Finals. Doesn't get better than that. Ultimately, anybody that didn't think this was going to be tough, I mean, everything is tough. And, you know, in this deal, it's a blast to have to grit your teeth, get up off the mat, and go after it again. That's part of it. That's part of what makes these guys on both sides special. It's part of what makes the Western Conference team special. They're able to do it. They're able to block out everything that doesn't matter and go compete. And that's what we'll go do.
It's fun to look at the little changes they're going to have to make, because in this one, again, LeBron ends up on Rozier and just takes him to the hole. When he ends up on Al Horford, he just dribbles by him. What was it? It was 26 of his 44 points were in the paint. I mean, so he was living in the paint. So I'm anxious to see what Boston does now to combat that in the next game.
To me, it seems like it's got to center around Aaron Baines, because he's the one force for the Boston Celtics that's a consistent rebounding effort that can battle what Tristan Thompson's been doing. Because you saw Tyronn Lue on the other side. The chess match for him was, all right, Tristan Thompson's going in every time Al Horford's in, and we'll take him out when he comes out. That was their game breaker. He's their catalyst defensively that creates a lot of that sense of urgency. And on the other side, when Aaron Baines comes in, he is getting the rebounds.
Yeah, he is.
He's a guy that can be viable enough in the Celtics offense. You wonder if he's earned more minutes just being a steadying force in there, because the problem is that they also makes them go bigger when that Cavaliers small lineup can come out. So those are some of the things they're going to have to wrestle with coming back, but they can look at this and say, we're used to situations overcoming double-digit deficits. Right. That's why they can be disappointed, but they can also say that Cavs team turned it over 19 times. If they do that at home where our young guys are more comfortable, that's going to be a death wish.
Yeah, there were a couple of stretches during the game last night when I was looking at some of the passes that the Cavs were making, like, what are you guys doing? And the other thing that's really weird for Boston, all 5 starters scored in double digits.
Yeah, they did.
All 5, and you still lost. The other way to look at that is, hey, if all 5 of our starters at home scoring double digits, we'll be fine.
We'll be good. You know, role players always play better at home. That's the the MO of that. So
the glue guys, the grit guys,
yeah,
the pound the floor guys. We'll see what happens. That game again coming up Wednesday.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030. To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. As we continue here on Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance, all phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Everybody talking about what happened in Game 3 in the Western Conference Finals between the Rockets and the Golden State Warriors, where Steph Curry emerged from his slumber to score 18 in the third quarter alone and was absolutely fantastic and has them now on the brink of going up 3-1. With the game at home tonight. You can hear it on ESPN Radio, and it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. And we played Billy Joel's Pressure because Mike and other Mike, there seems to be a whole discussion now between Mike D'Antoni, the Rockets head coach, and a response from Steve Kerr as to who the pressure really is on in Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals.
I think this stuff gets a bit ridiculous because you view it through your own glasses. You view it through your own team. It's just like, you know, in football, when you get to that bye week, is the bye week good or bad? If you were playing really well up to the bye week, oh no, the bye week's going to kill our momentum. No, it's not. No, it's good. We can rest. You know, you always spin it to what works for you. You always spin it to what makes your team or put your team in the best position. So then you'll sit there and say, oh, the pressure's on them or the pressure's on us. You're going to say as a coach, because they do it publicly all the time, whatever, because the coach speaking publicly is really speaking to the team as well. They're going to say what they need to say that they think their team needs to hear in that situation.
It's self-serving bias. Yeah. It's the easiest example of that possible. But really, for the answer to this question, where the pressure is on, it is very squarely on one side, because pressure only comes with doubt, and there's only one side with reason to doubt itself.
Agree.
Well, so here's
that'd be Houston.
That
by
would
the
be
way.
Houston. Yes.
Yeah. No, if you heard that and thought Golden State,
Yeah.
I would like to have you checked for some sort
Very
of
true.
in concussion protocol for some sports.
So here now is the back and forth. Let's start with Houston head coach Mike D'Antoni.
Right now, to me, Golden State has all the pressure. They got to win tomorrow night. We should come in with a little bit of swagger and giddy up in our game and see if we can get it.
All right, so that was him saying, the pressure's clearly on Golden State because they got to win tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure I feel comfortable saying the Warriors feel comfortable that they can win in Houston, as they did in Game 1.
I would agree.
By double digits. So, of course, Steve Kerr was asked about, this is the classic media thing. Hey, that's what that person said.
Yeah.
Let's go get your reaction to what he said and see what you say to his reaction about your reaction. Here is Steve Kerr responding to the pressure all being on the Golden State Warriors.
We're at home, so if they win, they have home court advantage. So, yeah, pressure's on us and kind of on them, too.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. What are we doing here? Here's what goes on. Here's what goes on the court from the athlete side of it that I would think about is individual matchups. Let's talk about Cleveland and Boston. Now 2-2 going back to Boston. Forget who the pressure's on and who has to make the plays and all that.
It's very important to know who the pressure is on, Mike.
But
very important.
You know what the individuals think of? You know what's going to happen is when the switch happens and Terry Rozier is on LeBron again. That's what players think about. What happens then? Well, I know I would think about that. If I'm going to play a team, I'm looking at the individual I'm playing against, and if I haven't played well against that guy, I'm starting to think, okay, I got to play against this guy again. What am I going to do? So if Rozier is matched up on LeBron, that's what the players are thinking about. Players are going to go play, and they're going to get caught in those situations again where Horford gets, LeBron drives by him, or Rozier again is on him with no help. I mean, that's what goes through guys' minds like that. They know what they want to do offensively, but defensively, they're caught in that situation. They're like, okay, I just got torched in this last game. What am I going to do this time around?
It's doubt. It's that doubt in that situation when you see that matchup and go, how am I going to do this? And so when you're the Houston Rockets and you look across the court at Golden State, if you're not James Harden, who has rightly otherworldly confidence in himself and his ability. If you're not him, you look across the court and you see a guy that's better than you at every position on the court in this game. And so you can't help but for most of those guys, because for the mere mortals, for the guys that aren't the otherworldly great players, everyone has some doubt because you know your flaws. If you're usually self-aware enough to know your flaws, you understand the positions that are going to compromise you. And so that's where doubt and that's where pressure comes from.
And don't get me wrong, Trey, what Mike's saying is right.
Yeah.
But you still think you can make the play.
Right.
Just because you look across, you say that guy overall is better. On this play, I can make the play. I would think that all the time. I'm going against Dwight Stevenson. I think I can make the play. I'm going against Anthony Munoz. I still think I can make the play. Now, overall, I'm going to lose more battles than I'm going to win, but the mental part of it is, or you have that one game where you win most of them.
Yeah.
But the mental part is I'm going to win that play, even though that guy overall is better than me. But then if you get beat by that person over and over again, as Mike said, doubt starts to enter your mind.
This is all about how you're trying to get in somebody else's head. Let's be honest, okay? Because the pressure's really on Houston if you look at it this way. The last time the Warriors lost a home playoff game, you know what it was? Game 7, 2016, LeBron's block, Kyrie's shot. I mean, so you could say whatever you want. The pressure's on Houston because ain't nobody beat this team with Kevin. And basically what we're saying is, with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry playing, they've never lost a home playoff game. This team, as it's presently constructed, has never lost a home playoff game. So sorry, Mike D'Antoni, there's pressure on you too.
Can you play that Mike D'Antoni cut one more time, by the way?
Let's do it.
Right now, to me, Golden State has all the pressure. They got to win tomorrow night. We should come in with a little bit of swagger and giddy up in our game and see if we can get it.
Tell me if I'm the only one hearing this. Is it me or does Mike D'Antoni always sound kind of drunk? Like just a little bit? Not sloppy or anything, but just kind of like, he had a few drinks before
his
he
delivery?
came. Yeah.
Well, he's got that sort of soft, mellow delivery.
Yeah.
I think he sounds more like someone out of a Western that likes to say mosey and saunter. But
he's definitely moseyed or sauntered in his day.
He has moseyed or sauntered into a couple places in his life. Let's listen
into a saloon.
Let's listen one more time.
Right now, to me, Golden State has all the pressure. They got to win tomorrow night. We should come in with a little bit of swagger and giddy up in our game and see if we can get it.
He drops swagger and giddy up.
Swagger.
The next thing, if he says, hey, we moseyed in there and sauntered out if they win. Yeah. That's what's happening if that happens again.
You come here often, little lady?
So here's the bigger question. What do you believe in more? Pressure in a playoff game where both teams really have it, or momentum carrying in from one game to the next? What's more of a real thing?
Oh, I don't think that the momentum we talk about in baseball, the momentum is
Next
the next
day's
starting
pitcher.
Well, especially with Cleveland. We don't know what player. There's been no other player that's been consistent, certainly not on LeBron's level, that you can go in and say, that's what we said yesterday before the game, right? Is what Boston wants to try and do. And with Cleveland, you have no idea because you don't know who's going to make the shots. You have no idea who is going to be the guy hitting those shots because they're not consistent. So there's no way I can sit here and say Cleveland has momentum going back to Boston where they didn't win because I don't know which players are going to hit their shots.
So what's more real, pressure or momentum?
I think they're both made to.
You get mad at me when I have trouble with nuance in love it or show it. Make a choice.
Well, no, this is one I don't think. I think you
make a choice.
You position it to fit your team. I don't think there is. If there's pressure on both teams.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Give us an answer.
Yeah.
Answer the question. Trey asked you a question.
I just gave the answer. It's
what's
made
your
up.
answer,
You didn't.
Junior?
I would say pressure is more real of the two. I think both are made up forces, but I'm going to say pressure manifests itself in more real ways.
Yes, and that's something that you can see actually play out in sometimes the way players, whether they're coming up short on things or they hesitate a little bit. I think pressure is a little more real than momentum because let's be honest, if you're 30-point blowout in the next game, LeBron scores 15 in the first quarter, that momentum is gone. But pressure is something that's tangible. You had a great line earlier as I was driving in. Did we get it clipped off? I'm not sure. You were talking about something your dad said, and it's like pressure is when your brain short circuits.
Red brain.
Red brain.
Yeah.
But you said short circuits. It was very funny.
See what someone on Twitter pointed that out too.
Yeah.
It's amazing people just waiting out there. The minute you miss one letter in a word, they're ready and waiting.
Welcome to my last 20 years.
Yeah,
By the way, now I feel bad. I've just become that guy on Twitter. I need a self-evaluation. All right, coming up, why is a league that's usually all about making money not interested in making money on something that could make them a lot of money?
Here's a little insider travel secret. There are tons of empty hotel rooms out there just waiting to be booked. That's why there's Hotel Tonight. Hotel Tonight partners with awesome hotels to help them fill their unsold rooms, which means you get incredible deals. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can actually book up to a week in advance and up to 100 days in advance in top destinations. So download the Hotel Tonight app to start scoring better deals at better hotels now.
Golic and Wingo with you. By the way, that last whole conversation we had about pressure, that was Straight Talk. That was the Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE network. So you could make the case that I failed in a pressure situation to nail the read at the end of the segment.
Yeah, there
so
you
I
go.
succumbed to the pressure of making sure I didn't get the Straight
It had
Talk
nothing to do with momentum because at the end of the day,
nothing to do with
I do agree with you guys because momentum starts at the beginning of every segment, right?
So finally now he makes a choice.
I make a choice.
Couldn't make a choice the entire 7 minutes before.
It's pressure.
It was the pressure got to you?
It was the pressure of the question got to me, which makes pressure real, which is now the answer to the question.
There you go.
How about that?
Well, listen, as long as we got there, that's all that matters.
I'm proud of you.
Okay, so we are entering, as we've known for about a week and a half now, a brave new world in sports where the Supreme Court struck down the idea of, banning sports betting everywhere outside of sports books in Nevada. And everyone's trying to figure out what exactly is going on and if there's going to be a lot of money made. Where does that money go to? Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, has said, we want 1%, which is basically the beginning of a negotiation to get some money somehow, some way. Everybody's having a different reaction to this, but the NFL has basically said, we understand that this is going to happen, but we want no part of it. Roger Goodell released a statement basically saying that we do not want any part of money from the whatever sports gambling may be, Mike.
Yeah, he's basically saying everything he said before, which is, it's all about the integrity of the game. We wanted something uniform across the country, so everybody following the same rules. Adam Silver said the same thing as far as the NBA was concerned, that they would want that as well. But that's been the biggest difference is we heard Adam Silver and others talk about wanting a piece of the action, and Roger Goodell saying the NFL, we don't. We don't want any money from them. It almost sounds like we don't want this. It got put in against our wishes, so we just want to make sure we're putting our focus on the integrity. We want a uniform thing, and we don't want to be in bed with anybody, so we don't want any money from you. Again, you're making $14 billion a year, but that usually doesn't mean you don't want to continue to make money somehow, some way. So Roger is saying this. I wonder what the other owners feel, because I'm sure it's not a unanimous thought process here. I'm sure, like anything else, there'll be some owners that would agree and some owners that say, what are you, crazy? I mean, we could make a few bucks here. But to me, since the NFL has been kicking and screaming the whole time about this, we always said they would be the last to really embrace this. And it seems like they are only embracing it because it got put upon them, and that's all they want to have to do with it, the bare minimum.
You're right. They're trying to maintain this idea of integrity that is very near and dear to their hearts. And I know you brought up what the other owners might think. I can't imagine this is something that Roger Goodell brings forward without consulting the owners. That usually tends to be the way it's operated. My question is, how does this affect the cause of the other leagues, like Adam Silver, that have been working and laying the groundwork for this for a while now? How much does it hurt them for these states and these groups to be able to say, well, the biggest league in America is not getting a cut of this, so why should we give you a cut of this? Another slight against them. But on the other side, what if those other leagues do get somewhere in getting their cut? Then does the NFL all of a sudden turn around and say, well, actually, you know what? That seems like a pretty good idea. Why would we now leave money on the table?
And again, the NFL and gambling has had a very convoluted past. Again, the reason that the injury report is made public is because in 1946, Junior, get prepared, history, then NFL Commissioner Burt Bell heard of a potential fixing of the championship game between the Bears and the Giants, and some players were going to fake injuries. So the outcome of all of this was, no, we're going to lay it all out there to make sure everybody knows exactly who's injured.
Oh, yeah.
So, we don't have anybody faking an injury. So the whole idea of the injury report came out to avoid the appearance of having some sort of gambling issue.
Yeah. So and that was going to be interesting for the other leagues that are trying to get money, is what's your leverage? Either states are going to work with them, because I don't know where we're going to get as far as legislation throughout the country. So it may be states working with them. So what is, I think some states would say, we want a working relationship with the sports leagues, with the pro leagues, around, and some may say, well, wait a minute, why? And then it's going to be fun and interesting to find out, maybe not fun, but interesting to find out, what are the leagues going to hold? What's their leverage going to be if a state says, no, we don't want to give you anything? Like Nevada's not giving them any money, and I don't know if anybody's ever tried to get money from them, but what is going to be the league's leverage to try and get money?
Since we had this discussion the first time, the one term that I've heard keep popping up is intellectual property. That seems to be...
That's from Adam Silver, who said that, and that sounds to me like the beginning of a lawsuit.
Yeah, that I can say it's getting legal language out there early and kind of setting that standard as they push for, I think, what would be ideal for all these leagues, and it sounds like what they're all behind, which is some sort of large, overreaching congressional action, but if not, like Trey's point, they're getting ready for whatever they need to do in court.
Again, the most interesting thing here is the other thing the NFL is saying is we want Congress to have a wide-reaching oversee over all this stuff, and the Supreme Court has just said, from a federal perspective, we're punting on the idea of regulating this. States regulate it own. The NFL says, no. Federal government, please regulate it so we don't have to. All right, coming up, when things go south, sometimes you have to go north. We'll explain. Look, if you haven't been receiving style tips from the clothing experts at Peter Millar, you are missing out. If you enjoy golf like me, you know the name. If you don't, you should, because Peter Millar is all about quality, value, and style. It is the most comfortable clothing you'll ever wear. Right now, I'm wearing one of their performance polos. What you'll love about these Peter Millar polo shirts is that they offer so much comfort and style no matter what you're doing. And they're so easy to take care of, too. Out of the dryer, you don't have to put an iron to them. You'll never have to worry about what to wear to any occasion. Peter Millar is the go-to clothing for vacation, work events, golf courses, and even working out. Put it on in the morning and never look out of place. You'll always have just the right look. They are great for the golf course because they even have sun protection built in the shirt. The performance polo I'm wearing is the most comfortable shirt I've ever worn. And you'll say the same thing about everything you wear from Peter Millar. Right now, you can head over to petermillar.com/wingo to check out some of my Peter Millar favorites. Be sure to use my link and you'll receive complimentary shipping and a free hat. That's Peter Millar, MILLAR.com/wingo. petermillar.com/wingo.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Golic and Wingo with you on a Tuesday morning. ESPN Radio and ESPN News presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line coming up in just a little bit. Johnny Manziel will join us. Talk about his decision to go play for the CFL, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and what his long-term goal is. You know, he played in the spring league a little bit and showed some flashes, but it was pretty clear right away that he felt this was the best decision for him.
Well, yeah, I think after he did some pro days as well and then did the spring league and I'm sure was hoping there would be an offer to be on a roster. I remember we had RG3 sitting in here in studio when he was trying to get on a roster, and he eventually did in Baltimore, saying this was the time when you get that 90-man roster to get on a team and be able to go through the OTAs, and I'm sure that's exactly what Johnny was trying to do.
And we'll have him in just a minute. Meanwhile, as we wait for Johnny, let's get you started with what's trending. And what's trending was the Cavs beat the Celtics 111-102 to even the series at 2 games apiece. LeBron scored 44, his 6th 40-point game this postseason. So can we end the LeBron's the reason the Cavs aren't winning? Because that's just the most ridiculous argument.
Well, I mean, I think overall they were playing better defense. And a lot just, as we talked about, you know, the X's and O's wise, they were never great defenders, but you can always make up for it. And I've always said this with hustle, with closeouts, with switches, with how bad do you need to get to the position you need to be on the floor, covering who you're supposed to cover, closing out on who you're supposed to close out on. And you saw that. But is it based on the fact that you have a lead and it's going well? Because where you really find out is if things aren't going as well, how much are you still doing the things you need to do? Or do you just kind of, because we've heard time and time again when it's not going well, when they're not hitting their shots, they don't play as good a defense. It really kind of, when you think about it overall, it's kind of a poor way to go about your business. Yet here they are, you know, when it's going well, their defense and their hustle seems to go a ton better.
And it starts with LeBron, so he's got to continue to bring that energy, especially early when he can afford it.
Yeah, the Game 4 win by the Cavs is what everybody's talking about, brought to you by Lowe's, Pros in the Nose. Start with Lowe's. Go to lowesforpros.com for details. All right, glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo presented by Progressive Insurance. Whatever you're looking to insure, go to progressive.com and they'll take care of that. But we are delighted to be joined now on the phone on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line by the newest member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and that's quarterback Johnny Manziel. Johnny, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you, Johnny. So, listen, obviously a lot of people have followed your career for a lot of years and everything that's going on at Texas A&M and the first-round pick with the Browns in 2014. Now your decision to go for the next 2 years and play up in the CFL with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. What made this the right call for you in your mind?
I think just getting a chance to play. You know, even if I would have jumped on somewhere in the NFL, I really feel like, you know, I'm not getting a chance to come in and play. You know, I'm going to sit there and learn, which is fine with me. But at the end of the day, you know, I've been out of the mix for a little bit, and I feel like I need to get back into the swing of things. And, you know, I've vetted a lot of options, and you know, from a lot of people that I talked to, they wanted to see me get some film, get some tape, and get back to playing. And you know, I think this gave me the best opportunity to do that.
We're there, Johnny. I know you were in a couple of pro days and then the spring league as well. Through that time in talking with NFL teams, how close did it ever come to signing with a team, if at all?
You know, I'm not really sure. That's probably a better question for maybe my agent. But you know, throughout the process this year, I was just glad to be back in the mix as far as going to some of these pro days. And getting back in the mix of working out and being around guys and throwing the ball around. So, you know, the spring league was good for me. I had a lot of fun down there. It got, you know, kind of my football motor going again as far as, you know, being in a camp, going to a practice, you know, throwing real routes on air and things like that. So I don't know how close it got. I know, you know, I talked to coaches that I had known and had a relationship with around the league and you know, kind of ask for advice. You know, I talked to other guys in the league, players, you know, that I had been around and who I trust, and you know, we just had talks about it, and you know, this is what it ended up turning out to be, and you know, I'm excited about it. It's a new chapter for me. It's a chance to get back the ball, and it's a great opportunity.
Talking to Johnny Manziel on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And Johnny, you brought it up yourself, reflecting on your time with the Browns, saying that you didn't prepare the way that you felt you needed to as a professional to be a quarterback in this league. So going through the spring league and heading to Hamilton now, has there been a player or players that you've talked to kind of help reshape that process and get a better handle on the way you want to prepare as a quarterback?
Yeah, I've said this multiple times in the past, but they got to really open my eyes to what it was and kind of, showed me the ropes and really got me on a schedule that I felt like was a really professional one, was Josh McCown, and I still talk to him. I still use him as a great resource. He's always there whenever I give him a call just to talk about ball, and he was the guy that pretty much said, hey, you don't have to come in whenever I do, but if you want to really learn the ropes, I've been in a lot of different places. I have a lot of experience, and I'm willing to help you. And I definitely jumped all over that opportunity, and it was different. We had a good quarterback room. It was fun to be around the guys that we had in there, and it was fun really learning the ins and outs of everything that I didn't necessarily know whenever I was in college. There's a progression to learning a lot of these things, and he was a guy that really helped me out. So I feel like I'm taking the blueprint that I got from him, and I got from when things were going well for me, and I'm trying to bring that up here.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because Josh McCown has been such a steadying influence on so many people, and a lot of people say, why is he still in the league? Because of that sort of thing. He's great at mentoring a lot of people, and I'm glad that you said that he's helping you. As Johnny Manziel is with us, now going to be with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Listen, what is it about the CFL and the way they play? Again, for people that may not know, there's only 3 downs, and a lot of times they don't punt on the 3rd down. They go for it. It's a wider field with a bigger end zone. What about the style of play and the way the CFL is played do you like about how it relates to your game?
Yeah, I'm obviously up here with Coach June Jones, and the way that we're running this offense, and I've just only been in it for a couple of days, but it's very interesting. It's a quick pace. There's an extra receiver on the field, and you're able to get some motion into some of these plays. So, it's a quick twitch, kind of finding holes in the defense and being able to kind of process everything really quick and get the ball out really quick. So, it's an interesting passing league because there are obviously 3 downs, and you're going to have to take some shots, especially on 2nd down, which is essentially 3rd down, comparable to the NFL. So, I'm still learning the ins and outs of it a little bit, but, what we're doing offensively and the way things are up here and what I've seen in the 2 days seem to be, pretty interesting, and it looks, with the field and everything that's going on, there's more space, and you're able to try and put some of these defenders on the island. But first couple of days, I'm still feeling it out, but it seems pretty cool.
I was going to say, I know it's only been a couple of days, but you've been playing on, NFL or college, that field for so long, and this is a different field, a different feel. In those couple of days, like, what stood out to you almost immediately as the biggest difference in the game in Canada?
Well, when you get on the hashes, sometimes if you have a trip to the field, that outside guy, if you're trying to throw a hole shot or something like that, is definitely a lot further throw because the field is wider. Also, when you get down into what essentially would be the red zone, the end zone is a lot deeper too. So there's more room to do some things in the red zone and around the goal line. It gives you a little bit more creativity in what you're doing, gives you more space. But, right now, I feel like I've got a better handle on the concepts that we have in offensively. But now it's just kind of seeing, how they play defense. Really, it's 1 high, 2 high, how they play their different coverages. It's been a little bit different.
Talking to Hamilton Tiger Cats quarterback Johnny Manziel on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. How much did the 2-year contract decision weigh on you, that 2-year commitment up there, as someone who had to make that decision a few years ago about going and playing potentially in Montreal, and understanding that you're now locked into that, and that passage of time can sometimes be to your detriment as a player trying to get back into the NFL?
Yeah, I definitely talked to people, and a multitude of people were like, go up there for a year and play and then come back. And I had to kind of explain to them that it wasn't really that easy.
Right.
The way that the rules are set up here, this is just the way it is. And, this was an opportunity that I got, and I had to take that into consideration. But at the end of the day, I'm back to playing ball. I'm back to, being on a team in the locker room, and that's what I really wanted. So if worse comes to worse, I got to be up here for 2 years. I'm still getting to do what I love. I'm still getting to do, everything that I've been missing for so long. So I'm not really looking at it as a detriment. I'm looking at it as an opportunity to still continue and try and get better. I think I have a very good coach who's developed quarterbacks in the past and had a lot of success with the quarterback position. So, I'm looking at this as an opportunity, just to get better as a quarterback. I need to continue to start seeing windows for throws and getting snaps and reading defenses. And that's something I get to do up here, and, I'm not taking that for granted.
Johnny Manziel with us on Golic and Wingo this morning, the newest quarterback of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Obviously reading and finding windows is one part of playing quarterback, whether it's the CFL or the NFL. The other part is all the other stuff that comes with it, the ancillary responsibilities and all those sort of things. And Johnny, before Super Bowl 50, we had Ryan Leaf on the show with us on NFL Live, and Peyton Manning was playing in that game. And I asked him, what's it like you being here with us on the set, and the guy that was drafted right ahead of you all those years ago is still playing? And one thing Ryan Leaf said was, I'd ask him how he did it, how he handled all the stuff that I couldn't handle very well and the stuff that became distractions for me. So with that in mind, obviously we're coming off a draft where 5 quarterbacks were taken in the first round, 4 in the top 10, including Baker Mayfield going to Cleveland. There's going to be a lot of expectations for all of these quarterbacks as first-round draft picks. So take away the idea of what happens on the field and doing the reads and understanding the playbook. What advice would you give to all of these guys, understanding the scrutiny, the pressure, all the things that come with being a number 1 pick as a quarterback, away from actually understanding the playbook?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you have to make football the main thing. And that's something that, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do all the time in my rookie year. I had to learn the hard way on some things and really was on a slower process as far as getting a handle on things football-wise. And, I was at a different place in my life, and, unfortunately for me, it took me a while to really figure things out, and I had to learn the hard way. But at the end of the day, I feel like I've got a chance to know some of these guys in this class, and people that I were around, they seem like really good dudes, like they have good heads on their shoulders. But it's all about the fit. It's all about getting into the right situation, and hopefully, with having been drafted as a first-round pick, these teams are heavily invested in these quarterbacks, and they'll help them get up to speed. But I feel like this was a good class, and it was really interesting to see play out in the draft. That's for sure.
And then, Johnny, of course, there's life off the field, not only while you're playing, but then when you're done playing, and it all ends for everybody at some point. And certainly, you had some trials and tribulations off the field. Where is all that now? Where are you personally now?
I feel like, I'm in a completely different place. I've got a chance to get up here and just the gratitude that I have for being back on a practice field and the little things, having a locker again, being back around a group of guys in the locker room, is something that I feel like for a point in time had been so normal for me that, I didn't really understand how special it was. And when you're sitting there in August, September, October, November, and you're not playing and you're watching as anyone else watches on TV, and hearing your boys talk about fantasy football and all the other stuff that goes along with this, it really makes you miss the game, not going to meetings and not being, traveling on a Friday or Saturday and going to play these games. It's all I'd known for so long, and something I feel like, unfortunately, felt normal for me and like it would never go away. And then when it does, it kind of slaps you in the face. So, I've done a multitude of steps in my life to ensure success both on the field and off the field. Now it's really just putting those things, those words into action. And I've been here putting a lot of time into this playbook because it is, this happened really quick. I didn't expect to be up here this quick. I think there were some dates when we were going through this process about when I was going to have to be up here, and it happened quicker. This contract got done, and I was up here on a flight that night and up here the next morning by 6 a.m. on a red eye. So it happened quick, and at the end of the day, I'm getting back to what I'm doing, and I'm happy about it. I'm not taking that for granted. Every little thing that I'm back to doing right now, whether it's a full training camp day, I'm happy about it, and I'm very lucky to be in this situation that I'm in because I feel like I have overcame a lot, and just learning from the past mistakes that I've made and not putting myself in bad situations again is the key thing.
Johnny Manziel with us this morning as he begins his career as a Hamilton Tiger Cats quarterback in the CFL. You said you missed the game, you missed it so much, you want to be a part of this again. So this is really the beginning of another journey for you as you attempt to come back and hopefully one of these days in your eyes play again in the NFL. So I guess my question for you would, as you begin this process again, what would be considered a success for you? If it doesn't work out and you don't get back to the NFL, what in your eyes would be a win for you in this attempt to get back and play the game you love?
You know, I feel like whenever I started out playing football and I was in high school, you know, there was always that doubt period of if I would ever even make it to college. My high school career went the way that it did, and I got a chance to originally commit to Oregon and then finally end up at A&M. And, you know, I've done a lot throughout my time. I had a time there in my redshirt year where things didn't go very well, and I was struggling with Coach Sherman's offense. And then Coach Sumlin comes in, and, you know, I didn't have the greatest spring whenever I was there. And then 6 months later, you know, the Heisman and everything like that happens. And, you know, my career so far, even through what I've done in college, has been a blessing to be able to have gone to A&M and got a chance to play, much less with all the things that we did there with Mike and Jake and Luke and all the guys that we had. You know, I made brothers for life in that situation, and I've done a lot football-wise that, you know, I didn't know if I would ever get a chance to do anything like this. So now, obviously, I'm not pleased with how my time went in the NFL. I have a lot of regrets about what happened in the past. But at the end of the day, I only have what I have in front of me right now, and that's this opportunity here. And I'm going to try and make the most of it. You know, this is the best opportunity that I have. I've made a lot of mistakes where people are hesitant about, you know, where I'm at and with what I've showed them in the past. So now it's just time to go out and do what I'm saying I'm doing and do the right things. But a success for me is just getting back to playing a preseason game that we have in a couple of weeks. You know, that's a success for me, and go out and be competitive in this job. And, you know, hopefully whenever I do get an opportunity, I make the most of it and play good, because I feel like there was a point, you know, in time in the past where, you know, I had spurts of playing good. I got a couple wins when I was in Cleveland, but it wasn't consistent. So, you know, just getting a grip on this offense and going out and hopefully when I do get the opportunity, playing well, I mean, is what I expect to do. But, you know, I'm not looking at it as a long-term thing down the road as far as what my expectations are here. Right now, I'm just trying to keep it, you know, third day of training camp. Let's get to this first preseason game, and let's see how this thing is, because it is going to be a little bit different.
Johnny Manziel here with us on Golic and Wingo. Before we let you go, you mentioned your time with the Browns, and we asked you about advice for the first-round quarterbacks, but you were a Browns quarterback and someone who relished that opportunity of trying to return a franchise to prominence. So Baker Mayfield was their number one overall pick. He is in the shoes that you are in. What specifically would you tell him about the challenge with that team in that city?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously some pressure on him being the way the organization has been over time. You know, they haven't had that ton of success that some teams are accustomed to, and they're trying to get back to that. But what I look at in Baker's situation is he obviously has another quarterback in the room who has veteran experience, who I feel like can really play. So, you know, just be ready when his name is called, whenever that may be, and try to block out whatever you can of the pressure and what people are having to say, because when you get to that first day of training camp, you know, the cameras will be in Cleveland. He obviously has Hard Knocks going on, and there's things like that can try and, you know, bring distractions to everything that's going on. But I feel like Baker will have a good grip on everything, and he'll, you know, be focused enough to get to where he needs to be to get ready to play whenever that is, you know. But I feel like, you know, they've done a good job in the last couple of years as far as the draft goes. They've lost guys like Joe Thomas, unfortunately, because that's a guy you really can't replace with what he brought to that town and what he brought to that team. But, you know, I feel like he'll be fine, and I'm definitely pulling for him.
Well, Johnny, we'll see how it plays out with you for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and what may or may not come after that. But we appreciate you being up with us this morning, and best of luck. Looking forward to that first preseason game.
Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, all the best, my friends. Thank you.
Johnny Manziel with us.
You know, what I love, some of the things I like hearing is, you know, it's time. It's not words anymore. He has to put them into action. You know, and that's what we hear a lot. You know, when people don't fulfill what you thought they were trying to fulfill or where they were picked and what the expectation was, sometimes you hear a lot of words, but as he just said, it's about action now. And you know, as Trey, you and I have said, we have our doubts that he's going to be able to make it back to the NFL, but, you know, he's willing to go take the shot. You know, he's willing to have football back in his life and now with a different perspective on where he was with it in his life and how he didn't handle it well too. Now he gets kind of a second act, even though it's starting up in Canada, which at least I think kind of brings him back to a place that he wanted to be. Now he gets to try it again, and he hopes this time the right way.
Yeah, as you go through these alternate leagues, you find out how much the rest of that means to you and how much you value it, because there might be a point where that's all he has. I don't know how long the camera stays fixed on Johnny based on how his career starts up there, and so those are going to be the things that are going to carry him when the spotlight goes away, potentially.
Well, and that's the interesting thing when you brought up the Browns specifically. The Hard Knocks thing is going to be interesting because they're going to try and make it the Baker Mayfield show.
Sure they are.
And can you imagine if they had been the Hard Knocks when Johnny was there in Cleveland? That would have been all about what Johnny Manziel was going to do. And, by his own words, some of the things that he was distracted by, that would have been a really bad thing for Johnny. We'll see if Baker and the Browns can figure out a way around that a little better.
By the way, the thing I have, at least with my last name in common now with Manziel, the all-time roster for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, which will include Johnny Manziel, 1956 and 1957, offensive tackle Bob Golic.
There you go.
Yeah.
All there together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030. To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and that's where we find ESPN Cavs reporter Dave McMenamin. You can catch out Dave's work on ESPN.com. His column from last night's game for other Cavs, led by Kyle Korver, opens lanes up for LeBron James. Dave, thanks for being with us. Trey Wingo, Mike Golic Jr. here with you. Yes, other Cavs did well, but that's because LeBron scored 44. Sixth time this postseason. What stood out most for you in the game where now, apparently, Dave, the Eastern Conference Finals have not yet begun yet because not a team has lost on their home floor?
Well, how about this? LeBron and the Cavs are now 5-1 in the postseason when LeBron scores 40+. So, wow, it's crazy. He's done it 6 times. The first player since Allen Iverson to have that many 40-point games in a single postseason, Iverson back in 2001. But also the fact that Kevin Love, obviously the number 2 option for the Cavs, goes under 10 points. And now in these playoffs, the Cavs are also 3-2. When Love scores under 10 points, of course, that's because of the work that LeBron's doing.
So along those lines, where do you see this, the difference of momentum and pressure of where it goes to this next game in Boston? Do you see either of them affect either team? How do you see this working?
Well, I mean, if you just look at the history for the Celtics playoff run, this is the exact same script that the first round went for them. They played Milwaukee to a 7-game series, and the Bucks won all their games on their court, and the Celtics won all their games on their court, and it continued. The Celtics right now are undefeated at home, and so unless the Cavs can go into Boston and win one of these next 3 games, the Celtics will be in the NBA Finals. The thing that the Cavs have on their side is that LeBron's been in this situation. Everyone thinks back to 2012. He went into Boston and got a game he had to have in a Game 6, a must-win situation. And some say it's the finest postseason performance of his career. And so that's why the Cavs feel good about themselves right now.
Dave McMenamin joining us in the Shell Pennzoil Performance Live. So much of last night's effort seemed tied to defense and just the effort and energy. How much was just an uptick in effort, and how much was Ty Lue tinkering with things like Tristan Thompson matching with Al Horford in the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the Tristan Thompson move has paid off ever since he went to the starting lineup in Game 2. Also, going with Larry Nance. Larry Nance Jr. had 2 DNPs from Ty Lue earlier in the playoffs. He had 2 other games where he played 4 minutes or less. But he provided a major spark in Game 4, particularly at the end of the third quarter. Boston threatening. They turned the Cavs' big lead, cut it all the way down to 8. And Nance gets in there, and he gets a tip in to go, and he gets to the foul line and makes 2 free throws, and all of a sudden, the Cavs go on a 7-2 run to end the third quarter, and they're back up double digits, and they were able to carry that momentum in the fourth quarter. And that's an instinctual move of Ty going with a guy in Nance who's never been in the playoffs before, who's a third-year player, pretty young. Ty Lue certainly in this series is pushing the right buttons right now.
Golic and Wingo reminding you that every playoff game throughout the NBA Finals is going to be on ESPN Radio, including Game 4 tonight. In the West, as Kevin Durant and the Warriors host Harden and the Rockets, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. As Dave McMenamin, our Cavs reporter, is with us. Dave, it seems like this series basically comes down to this. Do you believe that the Celtics will continue to hold court at home? They have not lost a home game in this postseason, and as a franchise, they've never lost a series in which they've been up 2-0 in a best-of-7. Or do you believe more in LeBron James finding a way to get to his 8th straight finals in the NBA? It just seems like it comes down to one of those things. What do you believe is more likely to happen? LeBron stealing a game or the Celtics holding court?
It's hard for me to pick against LeBron in this situation. I've been covering him day in, day out the last 4 seasons, and I've seen him just do remarkable thing after remarkable thing. Just the way this postseason has gone for LeBron. He already has the 2 buzzer beaters. I mentioned the 6 40-point games. He leads the postseason in scoring. He's continuing to add to his accolades. Last night he passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most field goals made in NBA playoff history. Is he going to really go out and have his final streak of 7 straight finals broken against a team that's led by a couple 20-year-olds or 21-year-olds and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, of course Al Horford, but the Cavs have a way to neutralize him. We've seen that. I got to go with the experienced guy, the 33-year-old who's in his prime, who hasn't missed a game all season long, all 82 in the regular season plus 15 in the postseason. I believe somehow he gets the Cavs back to the finals in this situation.
And the role players have to play well now on the road. Talk a little bit about Kyle Korver. I know you were talking about him in your article, just about what he's meant, especially in the last couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, he was incredible in Game 4, 14 points off the bench, 3 blocks. He's 37 years old. He blocked the 21-year-old Jaylen Brown 3 times. The defensive numbers for Kyle Korver in this series are starting to add up and look incredible. I mean, in the last 3 games, as the primary defender, he's holding Celtics shooters to 8 for 28 shooting from the floor, which is wild. I mean, he's supposed to be a defensive liability who hits shots. He's been a defensive plus who hits shots, which is huge for the Cavs. And then I mentioned earlier with Larry Nance Jr. helping the Cavs in that late third quarter run to really give them control of the game again headed into the fourth quarter. There was a huge moment in that run. Also, Kyle Korver racing down the court, diving on the floor for a loose ball. Him and Terry Rozier, again, he's 37 years old. Terry Rozier is 24. He knocks the ball off Terry Rozier. It goes out of bounds. Cavs retain possession. The cue went wild. And those were the type of moments that he provided, again, on both ends all throughout the night. And a big reason why the Cavs are going back to Boston tied 2-2.
Dave, as they go back to Boston now, won't be able to rely on the energy of that crowd, but rather the things they've focused in on. You mentioned Al Horford was a big key for them, stopping him offensively and what he does. Who outside of Al Horford is the next Celtic on the list that the Cavaliers want to make sure they focus in on and prevent from getting any sort of momentum of his own?
Yeah, I mean, they keyed in on Jason Tatum coming into this series, and again, it allowed other guys to get off. Then they kind of keyed in on Jaylen Brown, and that worked pretty well in Game 3, not as well in Game 4, despite Kyle Korver's efforts. Jaylen Brown goes off for, I think, 25 points on 10 for 23 shooting. That's the tough part of this Celtics team. The Cavs can't just lock in on one guy necessarily because they have, 4 or 5 guys who put up 20 points on the Celtics. What the Cavs were saying in the locker room last night is that we just realized all those little extra effort plays we got to have, and we can't have our offense dictate our defensive energy. In games 1 and 2, you saw them putting their heads down when things didn't go right, and then all of a sudden Boston's already halfway into possession before the Cavs are even thinking about defense. They got to have the requisite focus and recognize also, like, if our shots aren't falling, we got to find something within ourselves to keep playing on defense. The Cavs only shot 25% from 3 in those first 2 games in Boston. They shot it much better, obviously, on their home court. We'll see. You know, it's easier said than done because that's a loud arena, as loud as it got last night for the Cavs. Boston, I'd say, probably was even louder on a consistent level in games 1 and 2. We'll see what this team's made of come Game 5.
And we'll find out whether or not the Eastern Conference Finals actually begins in Game 5 if somebody loses the Boston Celtics on their home floor. All right, Dave, our Cavs reporter. Follow him at Mac10, Dave McMenamin, on Twitter. Dave, thanks for being with us, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guys.
All right, coming up next, why is a professional athlete peeing on himself? Look, if you haven't been receiving style tips from the clothing experts at Peter Millar, you are missing out. If you enjoy golf like me, you know the name. If you don't, you should, because Peter Millar is all about quality, value, and style. It is the most comfortable clothing you'll ever wear. Right now, I'm wearing one of their performance polos. What you'll love about these Peter Millar polo shirts is that they offer so much comfort and style no matter what you're doing. And they're so easy to take care of, too. Out of the dryer, you don't have to put an iron to them. You'll never have to worry about what to wear to any occasion. Peter Millar is the go-to clothing for vacation, work events, golf courses, and even working out. Put it on in the morning and never look out of place. You'll always have just the right look. They are great for the golf course because they even have sun protection built in the shirt. The performance polo I'm wearing is the most comfortable shirt I've ever worn. And you'll say the same thing about everything you wear from Peter Millar. Right now you can head over to petermillar.com/wingo to check out some of my Peter Millar favorites. Be sure to use my link and you'll receive complimentary shipping and a free hat. That's Peter Millar, MILLAR.com/wingo. petermillar.com/wingo. Golic and Wingo with you. And by the way, Junior, get excited. We're going to do a Book It segment tomorrow. Book It segment tomorrow. That was your hot take on First Take, first and last. And, of course, we steal all the good stuff.
Yes, we do.
Because we're just going to.
Yep.
Because we can. That was Cliff's idea.
Your thought is basically if you say book it, that really kind of...
Yeah, it's a hot take amplifier. So regardless of whatever statement you make, you just throw book it on the end, and all of a sudden it sounds assertive. It sounds like people should take it seriously.
There you go.
And this was Cliff's idea, so...
Cliff, for crying out loud!
Yeah. By the way, ESPN Deportes will be the Spanish-language home of UEFA Champions League final this Saturday, May 26th at 2:20 Eastern, 11:20 Pacific. Will Real Madrid make history and win for the third consecutive year, or will there be a new champion in Liverpool? Champions League final, May 26th, live and in Spanish on ESPN Deportes and the ESPN app. So we go from football to football here on Golic and Wingo. We are in phase 3 for a lot of teams and their off-season workouts, the OTAs, and people are there and a lot of people are not there. So as we go through the list of players that have not shown up, what's the biggest deal for you guys? Is it Julio Jones not being there? Is it Aaron Donald, the defensive lineman for the Rams, not being there? Is it Gronkowski not being there? Tom Brady not being there? Mark Ingram not being there? What concerns you the most?
They're for different reasons, obviously. You know, Julio, we don't know what it's really about.
Contract.
Is it about money? You know, there's a few years left on his deal. Darnold, we know it's about money.
Donald.
He sat out all the way until...
Donald. You've said Darnold twice.
Donald.
Yeah.
Until
the early holdout for the
how about
Rook.
it? Yeah. Well, he's feeling his oats there. But Donald, missed the first game last year, held out so long. Le'Veon Bell, they're going to hold out again, it seems. So it's a difference between the money guys. Brady and Gronk, again, I understand it's not like it was. It's a little different because they've been there, but I'm not worried about those guys. They're going to show up at some point and they're going to play. It's how far do the other guys go that want the money? How far are they going to sit out? Are they going to miss camp? Are they going to miss games? So those are the worrisome ones to me. So it would be Donald and it would be Bell. Odell Beckham is in OTAs, but he's still looking for a deal as well. So it's without a doubt the money guys to me is how far do they take it?
Yeah, I would say if we're going to keep with the theme we were just talking about, an early tease for you, got to be worried about Le'Veon. Book it.
You think so, Le'Veon?
I think so, just because this current Steelers roster, especially with Ben, we know as much as he's now talked about another 3 to 5 years because Mason Rudolph strolled onto campus, this is a guy who's kind of flirted with retirement and flirted with the edge every season for a while now. So at least the timetable for this current group is ticking. The Rams have a young core. A lot of the rest of these teams are in different places. The Steelers are in a very clear championship window, and that window exists in very large part because of what Le'Veon Le'Veon provides your offense.
Listen, I hear what you're saying, but I think eventually, and maybe it's me just listening to you say this a million times, Senior, but I do believe that there's no chance in hell if he plays under the franchise tag, he's turning down $14+ million.
Oh, I agree with that.
I agree.
No way.
I agree with that,
I think Aaron Donald, might say, hey, I'm not coming in until I get my money. Let's be clear about this. Pro Football Focus, which ranks every player, rated him the best player in football, and it wasn't even close.
But I also think he has the greatest likelihood of getting paid. I think there's a very real chance that we see his payday come before any of the rest of these guys, because it is so obvious you need to pay him. With the rest of these guys, because of position, because of other things, they've got questions and doubts. And with Le'Veon, we know last year still touched almost 2,000 yards from scrimmage, but it took him a while to get going. And the Steelers, especially with how crowded and competitive the AFC is going to be this year, they can't afford to lag behind early in the season.
I wonder which of the guys, we keep talking about these fifth-year guys that are looking to get paid, like Zach Martin, like Donald, like Odell Beckham, Khalil Mack. Which of the guys that don't get that deal will hold out the longest?
I think it's going to be Aaron Donald, and I don't think it's even close. I mean,
more than Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I think so, because again, I don't think Bell's, especially the running back position where your window is much shorter than almost every other one. You just even if you don't get the deal, you cannot turn down $14+ million.
The difference quickly with Bell is it's a franchise tag. So come July 15th, there's no more negotiation. He either plays for the 14, which I firmly believe he will. Yeah. So these other guys, it's about you can keep extending your holdout because you're trying to have leverage to get that big deal.
Well, yeah, and he said as much. He went on his own Instagram feed and said, I'm not going to miss games this season, but it's still the hangover that comes with missing all of training camp the way he did last year, and the way that clearly had some effect on the slow start to their season for him.
But it also allowed him to play 15 games. They held him out of the last game of the regular season. He was healthy all the way through the season, which had been a big concern for the last couple of years as well. The other thing I'll say, and look, they're both going to be there, they're both going to play, but you can't tell me it doesn't mean something that both Gronk and Tom Brady, who have been notorious about being at everything and showing the way, and Tom Brady taking a haircut all these years to make sure that, he is taking one from the team. The fact that he's not there, he's making a statement. Now, I don't think it affects what he does, but he's clearly saying, hey, I'm going to do things my way now because I've been emboldened by the organization that they have my back in this. So we're gonna see how far I can push the envelope here, and that to me is very, very interesting. All right, you youngster, get out of here, and you get to miss the greatest thing in the world: why a professional athlete is deciding consciously to pee on himself.
Oh God!
Hiya, Junior.